Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. This is your brother Nafis Abu Zaid here at Maktabah Ibn Taymiyyah with our esteemed brother Ali Davis, former graduate, student of knowledge, a former graduate of Qura. Alhamdulillah, we would like to thank our brother for coming in today, and we also appreciate having him here today for ourselves and for the people. May Allah Jalla wa Ala reward you, and we hope that this interview can clarify some of the issues and the back and forth going on in the community between our brothers that has since been exposed to the commoners due to the social media and the refutation talks. Again, we thank you for your efforts of rectification and clarification. And just as to be clear as possible, can you please remind us and the people of your credentials in Islamic educational background? Barakallahu feek.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam ala ashraf al-anbiya wal mursaleen, nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een, amma ba'd. I'm just one of many students that graduated from Qura with a degree in Qada from the College of Judicial Law. Alhamdulillah, that's, inshallah, that's...
Okay, this is an insightful interview with our brother Ali Davis on his advice that he just recently posted to his former colleague and friend Jamil Finch. We would like to ask you, the first question we would like to ask you is, can you clarify to us the relationship you have with our brother Jamil Finch?
Jamil and I, we go back a long time. I want to say we met, I think it was in 2002 or 3. We both made Hajj together, both of us, and we were both looking to apply for the university. And while we were there, we had some troubles, but alhamdulillah, we were able to get certain approval letters from princes and so on and so forth. And he helped me out when we were actually when we were interviewing with a person named Dr. Saleh. Dr. Saleh said that he did not want to accept me because I was married and I had kids, and he said that he didn't want to accept students that was married with kids because many of them would come and fail out of school. And so Jamil, we were both sitting in there together, and so when Jamil heard that, he said, "I felt so bad for you. I was willing to give you my spot at the university." So that was, when I saw it, I was like, "Dad, that's deep." He was actually considering giving up his own spot to go for me. And so from that point onward, he and I, we developed a relationship. So he first got accepted before I did. I'm going to say like maybe 3 or 4 months. He went to Mecca, and then I came shortly thereafter. When I got there, we both went to the Arabic program together. We would, spend a lot of time studying together. We were actually neighbors. So my house was here. His house was like right next to mine. And throughout the years that we were there, in the beginning, all we did was memorize, study, sit in durus, memorize, study, sit. We didn't have time for any nonsense. We didn't even know about now. We were so innocent when we first got there. We didn't know that other students were arguing with other students. We didn't even know any of that stuff. Our thing was, we just studied. All we wanted to do was memorize books, study with the scholars, and that was it. And I remember one time, it was late at night, and I wanted to, I was studying all night. Might have been like 12, 1 in the morning, and I wanted to get something to drink. So I left out my house or my apartment to go to the Baqala. The Baqala is like the corner store there. We used to live in the mountains, so I left out to go to the corner store. And when I got there, I bought something to drink. When I came out, I looked up and I saw Jamil's light still on in his library, and I said, "Dad, I got to go back in and continue studying," because I didn't want him to outdo me in study. I mean, that's the type of competition we used to have with studying. So we would always encourage each other to do well. I remember one time there was a brother, and I'm mentioning this because this is facts. This is real stuff. I'm not making this up. There was a brother that came to visit Jamil one day, and the brother, his face he had a shaven face. His face was shaved, and he didn't have a beard. And so when he came to Jamil's house, he was sitting down eating. So when I got there, And I'm looking at this guy. You know, this was back then. I'm looking at this guy like, how you got this guy in your house with his beard shaved? And then Jamil pulled me to the side and said, do you want to be the reason why people run away from Allah and His Messenger by your attitude and your behavior? So when he said that, that was a benefit to me. And I said, dang, I got to get myself together. So me saying this to you, I don't dislike Jamil. I love that brother to death. Jamil Finch is an excellent dude. But I do feel like he got caught up into some stuff and he couldn't turn back. He got caught up and it was hard to get out of it, and Allah knows best. No.
Tayyibb. Why wait until now to release this article or this advice about Jamil Finch?
Tayyibb. So when Jamil first said what he said about me, I was hurt more than anything. Like, come on, Jamil, like, you know better. Like, Jamil, you know me. Like, come on. And I didn't want to respond out of anger. So, you know, some of the students that I talked to, they said, nah, go ahead, say something. I said, nah, I'm not going to say nothing. I'm going to just let it go. And so my initial reaction was just to let it go. Like, don't say nothing. Let it go. Because I know the reality, and Jamil knows the reality. And everybody that studied with us, that know me, we all know the reality. There's no games. We know what it is. And so, however, I want to say during Ramadan, this is when it hit me. During Ramadan, there was a young brother, like 19 years old. He came up to me and said, I want to know if I could take from you because, you know, I think, you know, everybody's saying you're an innovator. And I said, what you mean? He said, everybody saying you're an innovator and this, that, and the next. And I was like, Dad, really? I said, yeah. And then he said, what's your issue with you and Jamil Finch and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, come on, man. Like, I really didn't want to address it. But like a couple brothers told me, they say, you know, your silence is like approval. Your act of silence is approval of what he said. And I really didn't want to get into this. But Jamil knows that. He and I have had numerous. I have emails. Not what I put out. I have emails of a lot more stuff. But that's, I'm not gonna touch this issue no more after this. But the reality of it is, I just feel like, you know, I had to. I waited that long because I didn't want to, and then I felt like, you know, it was just time. I wasn't angry anymore. I think the oppression is bigger than me. I don't care about people talking about me, but anytime I hear that, you know, it's tearing families apart. Anytime I hear that is brothers they walking around confused, they don't know what's going on. Like who. And the thing is, everybody's looking for somebody else to say something. I was even looking for somebody else to say something. Somebody say something. And then at the end of the day, you look and say, who else is there to say something except for you? You know what's going on. Nobody else knows. Nobody else knows what's going on. You've been there. You lived it. We lived it. You know what's going on. And so that's why I did it. And Allah knows best.
What do you hope to gain by releasing this advice or this article?
So one of the things that I hope is that people will become educated. People will learn. Like our religion, I've said it time and time again. Our religion is based on rules and regulations. If I don't like you, I still can't oppress you. Islam has rules in place. How I'm supposed to deal with you. Even if I don't like you. Even if you're an innovator, it's rules to how I approach you. There's nothing in Islam that's haphazard. Think about this. If we look at everything in life, it's rules and regulations for everything. If you want to be a doctor, it's rules and regulations. If you want to be whatever you want to be a lawyer, it's rules. You got to follow rules and guidelines. Why does anyone in their right mind think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala left Islam haphazard? So anyone can say whatever they want and not be checked. No, our religion has rules. Everyone is obliged to follow them. Student of knowledge, layperson, and scholar. No one is exempt from the rules of Islam.
No. After releasing your advice, your article on Jamil Finch, he responded on Twitter just yesterday with, I left Ali Davis, meaning you and company, because I prefer to be among Ahl Sunnah, not upon the way of Ikhwani Muslimun. Hashtag, it's not 20-page deep. Now, not to put you on the spot, brother, what is your response to this tweet? Some of the people amongst us here at the Mahat find this to be highly disrespectful, disregarding, and insulting, especially to you and your honor.
I mean, I just take it with a grain of salt, man. He's been talking. I've been back since 2014. I haven't said anything about Jamil. I haven't said anything about those brothers. I've been busy, you know, doing whatever I did. As far as this claim about Ikhwan Muslimin, I doubt he even knows what they are and what are the rules and conditions to be an Ikhwani. In order for a person to be from Ikhwan Muslimin, there's a contract you have to sign. The people that they're talking about, these are lay people. The conference that we'll be attending, inshallah, they're a bunch of lay people. These people are not known to have knowledge of Islam. I remember one time Sheikh Salih Suhaimi, he mentioned if the Shia were to invite him to come give a lecture, he would go give a lecture. So who are we in our own town, our own country, our own area, not to go and call people to Islam? If these people at these masajid, I don't like the flyer they put out. I don't think it's a good flyer. I wouldn't have recommended to put that flyer out. But does that mean now because they got a flyer out with women on that we don't go? Not. We still go. There's no restrictions on me. I go and I'll say whatever I want. I'll advise whoever I want to advise. And that's that. I don't have to prove anything to anyone. I don't have to validate to brothers, hey, guess what? This is what I did when I went there so I could be on your team. I'm not doing that. There's nothing in Islam that obliges me to conform to anyone else. Our conformity is to Allah and His Messenger and to the Sunnah of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, and that's that. So yeah, with regards to the Ikhwan Muslimin, I mean, this is a joke. This is a joke. Many scholars in Saudi Arabia even consider them to be a terrorist organization. You're going to attribute brothers that studied with you and sat in the same classrooms as being Ikhwani? Come on, man. So therefore, it's a joke, and I can't even take that seriously.
No.
So yeah.
Why do you think Jamil Finch is now involved with Hassan Somali and friends?
I don't know. I mean, Hassan Somali, we have a long history with Hassan Somali, and there's nothing. I think Hassan, when I first met him, he helped me come to understanding the way of the Salaf, no doubt. I was living in Maryland. He came down, gave lectures at some of the masajid, and alhamdulillah, I always had love for Hassan. But the reality of it is, when things are wrong, they're wrong. I don't know why. I mean, why did Jamil decide to go that way? I can say that because these brothers were given dawah on the ground and we were still in school, and maybe he wanted to be a part of them. And Allah knows best. I don't know. I can't. I don't want this to be a Hassan Somali bashing, Jamil Finch bashing, the rest of the brothers bashing. That's not what it is. The reality of it is that we have differences, no doubt. We differ on stuff. It's not a secret. We differ on things. But at the same time, like, you still want to be just. You still want to say that which is correct, even if it's against yourself.
Okay. Have any of the teachers that you and Jamil shared or studied with advised you with anything or any piece of advice when you both returned back to your respective lands?
I don't know what they advised Jamil with, but I was advised going back to busy the people with knowledge. Busy the people with knowledge. Don't let them get caught up in this trivial stuff. But the problem is that here in Philly, you can't avoid it. I've been here for 3 years. 3 years. You can't avoid this stuff. You could be in the masjid teaching, people looking at you crazy, walking out the man, and it's like, come on, man. Like, seriously, 3 years. People whispering, saying this. Jamil said this about you. This one said that. You got bad perfume. You down in South Philly. You're this. It's like, come on. Like, come talk to me. Like, we men. Now we got to resort to communicating through the internet. If I want to say something to Jamil or those brothers, it got to be through writing something or putting out a tweet. We men. We're men. Why can't we all come together, sit down, close the doors, and let's talk? Put our problems out. Let's work it out. Ever since I've been in school, I knew those brothers had problems with Tahir, even when we was in the university. But what did I do? Every time I went to Medina to visit Tahir, I would visit with him, leave his house, and go visit Anwar and Abdul Wali. And after I visited them, I would always try to bring the brothers together. When I was living in Mecca, and the brothers would come from Medina. The brothers would come from Medina to Mecca. When Shadid and Tahir would come to Mecca, I would take them to Musa Richardson house. So all of us could get together. Let's work out our problems. I was never about separation of the brothers. Never. And anybody that lived there know that. Never. But there comes a time it's like they're picking people to pick sides. I'm not picking sides. My side is always the truth. If it's against me, bring what you got. Bring what you have. I'm not running away from it. But the problem is now somebody has to say something. Enough is enough.
No. Do you believe that the new company that Jamil has from among the likes of Hassan Somali and friends is what the communities need here in the West. And it's not a bashing, but do you think that, as you addressed in your article and your advice to him, do you think that the way about, warning against Ahlul Bidah and warning against specific individuals is more necessary here than, the way that you come back as teaching and instructing the people?
Right. Warning against Ahlul Bidah is something that is from the religion. The problem is, you have to really warn against Ahlul Bidah. Don't warn against me. I'm not calling nobody no innovation. Don't warn against Abu Sajid. Don't warn against the rest of the Mufti. What are you warning against us for? We're calling to the same thing you calling. Maybe we're calling to the same thing. I don't know what we're calling to following Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the way of his Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. The brothers are calling to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the way of the Prophet. Why are you talking about us? On Broad and where's that? Broad and
Glenwood.
Broad and Glenwood. You have the what are these people? The Ahmadiyyas. They're building something called the Masjid for the people to worship whatever they're going to worship there. Why not talk about them? We have 45th and Wall. We have all over the city people that really have innovations that you might be able to see, and it's clear. There's nothing hidden. There's no secret innovation going on. There's real people innovation. Why talk about us? We on the same team. We on the same team. Why are you talking about us? We're not trying. Listen, man. We're not trying to tell nobody don't follow the Quran and Sunnah in the way to Salaf. This is the same thing we call to. No doubt. All my classes are online. Give me one class, one statement that went against the methodology of the Salaf. One.
Do you believe that this is somehow still a part of the question? Do you believe that somehow the things that the other brothers are propagating, do you think it's destructive? Is it harmful to the community? I mean, what you witnessed so far, since you've been here for 3 years, do you think it's destructive?
I mean, the reason why I'm speaking about it now is because I feel like it's harmful to the community. People are suffering, man. I didn't realize the effect was as strong as it was. People are suffering, man. People are hurting. People don't know. They don't know, man. Oh man, Ali Davis is an innovator. I told one brother right over here, right next door to your shop. I don't care if you don't take from me. Like, it doesn't affect me. I'm going to live my life, take care of my family, and do what I do, whether you listen to my lectures or not. I'm not asking for no money. Do what you do. It doesn't matter to me. But I am going to give whatever little bit of knowledge I have, I'm going to share it. You don't got to take it from me. Take it from that brother. If you, listen, like I told her, brother, if you don't like me, you don't want to take from me, alhamdulillah. Take from Hassan Somali or wherever else. The goal is Jannah. The goal is paradise. If they're helping you get there, ahlan wa marhaban. Ahlan wa marhaban. I don't have a problem with that, man.
What do you think about the response of Musa Richardson on Twitter to Jamil Finch after reading or after releasing your advice to Jamil Finch about it's just kalam, a bunch of words and emotions?
I mean, Musa Richardson, to us, he was like, for me and for Jamil and myself, he was like our teacher when we first got there. I have a lot of love for Musa Richardson. However, I do feel like he's wrong. He's out of pocket. And the problem with that is is Musa and our issues started when Abu Hassan Malik visited Mecca some years ago. This is what happened. Abu Hassan Malik visited Mecca some years ago. Jamil and Abu Sajid, Saeed and I, we picked him up from a hotel to go take him out to breakfast or whatever. When we picked him up, he got in the car. He's riding with me where you sitting. I'm driving. And I had a book in the car. The book was called Ihkam al-Ahkam from Ibn Daqiq al-Eid. This is an explanation of Umdat al-Ahkam. I had the book there. And so as students, what we do is we read. So when he got in the car, I asked him, I said, Sheikh, I called him Sheikh, out of respect. He's been giving dawah a lot longer than many of us. I said, Sheikh, you ever studied this book, Ihkam al-Ahkam? He was like, no. So I was like, all right, I left it at that. So the next day, we ate, went on about our way, and that was the end of it. The next day, I get a phone call from Musa Richardson. Ali, why did you disrespect Abu Hassan Malik? And I'm scratching my head like, what are you talking about? How did I'm thinking like that. Maybe I asked him a question while we was eating. He felt some type of way, but I'm thinking, why didn't he say something to me? But anyway, I get a call from Musa. Musa's like, Ali, why'd you disrespect Abu Hassan Malik? And I'm like, well, what did I do? He said, you said, he said. He's like, he said that I told Abu Hassan Malik why did I ask him about some easy book in Islam to read? And I said, Musa, he's talking about Ihkam al-Ahkam from Ibn Daqiq al-Eid. This is a book that scholars teach other scholars. This is not no easy book. And then Musa said to me, well, Ali, for Abu Hassan Malik and Abu Khadija, you can't talk to them about those issues. So you can't talk to them about those issues, they get upset. When he said that to me, a light bulb clicked, something not right with this. Something is not right with this. When he said this, I told brothers about this back then, and I'm mentioning it now. So, and this is not slander, it's not a lie. This is what happened. Abu Sajid was sitting right in the back seat of the car. I asked Abu Hassan, did I say something crazy to the brother when we was? It's like, no. So, the end of the day, man, then Musa got mad at me. I was the first. Then there was another issue between Musa and I when Hassan Somali and those brothers took over Germantown Masjid back in 2010 or 11, if I'm not mistaken. Musa got involved in it, in the affairs of the masjid there, and I told him, like, you're not, at this point in time, he hasn't been in America over 13 years. How do you know what's going on in Philly? You're not even there. Yes, the administration in Germantown, half of the administration was for politics and the other half wasn't. It wasn't everybody. You sit down with the brothers and you talk to them. You know, and that's a whole nother conversation. What happened in Germantown Masjid, how the current Masjid now wasn't what it was back then. They were overthrown, and how all that happened. That's a whole nother ball game. And I advise you guys to talk to Dawud Adib about that, and Abu Yusuf Khalifa, because they were directly involved, and they could give you more insight. And I could give you insight. Maybe we could all collaborate as to what happened about during that time. Now,
you have another incident with you and Musa Richardson? Why you believe that your relationship is so rocky now?
I remember, we'll leave it at that. It's some other stuff. I'll leave it at that. And just go ahead. You want?
Have you ever had a face-to-face meeting with these individuals to make Islam?
Who?
Jamil Finch.
Have I had a face-to-face with Jamil Finch?
Any of them from that organization?
Since when? I saw Hassan Somali last year in Ramadan, or the year before in Ramadan. I went up to Germantown. I saw him. We sat in his library. We talked. I left. I thought we was working on something positive, and then the next week I heard he was talking about me in Jumu'ah. You know what I'm saying? So how do you expect a person to react to that? Like, come on, man. Like, if you talk about me during Jumu'ah, but I go and sit in your office, he gave me a book of dua. I'm reading, alhamdulillah. I'm figuring this is a means of brothers coming together, and then the next week, boom, he's talking about me at Jumu'ah. From what I heard, I can't guarantee that. This is the word on the street, that he was talking about me after Jumu'ah. Now, granted, and I'm not going to defend myself. Sometimes I get upset when I deal with those brothers, no doubt, and I take ownership of that. I own that. Sometimes I'm out of pocket. Sometimes you know what I'm saying. I own that. I'm not going to run away from that. You know what I mean? Because it's I see the harm that it causes many people, and it's upsetting.
In your honest opinion, why do you think Jamil Finch have yet to respond to the legitimate questions you posed to him in this advice? And do you think he will ever answer?
Honestly, I hope he does, but honestly, I don't think he's able to. And Allah knows best. You gotta understand. I gave him what I put out was what I didn't write that. That was us old. That's old. I gave him that in 2013. 2013, I sent it to him. He never talked to me after that. The only thing he talked to me after that was when I was on the plane coming back to America, and he sent me a text message making dua for me. When I left Saudi, he gave me a text message saying, may Allah bless you, and whatever, and that was it.
While spending time studying overseas for how many years you've been there, do you think there's any validity to those allegations levied towards Sheikh Tahir Wyatt and Muhammad Nair?
I wish that they were. I remember when Anwar Wright graduated, and he was coming back, and he came back and said, I'm going to refute Tahir, I'm going to Sheikh. And I said, all right. I called, Anwar and I had a conversation on the phone. I said, Anwar, what y'all got against Tahir? Like, I want to know. You got to understand something. I've known Tahir, we went to high school together. I knew him when I was non-Muslim and he was a non-Muslim. How many people you knew before Islam, you just going to turn your back on them now that they become Muslim? It's not real life. But my thing was, if Torah here made mistakes. Let's figure out what they are and let's talk to them. Let's fix it. So I said, Anwar, what did Torah here do? That was the first thing came out of his mouth was one of the brothers was sick or had a cold and Torah wouldn't shake his hand. When I heard that, I said, come on, man, you can't be. After that, I just ignored everything else after that. After that, I didn't want to hear nothing else. Torah here wouldn't shake his hand because the brother had a cold or something like that. And I'm like, a cold? Are you serious? And whatever he said after that, I can't honestly remember because I blocked it out after that. It was like, it's nonsense. It's nonsense. So go ahead.
No.
You done?
No. A couple more questions. We're almost done. Okay, we noticed your observation in the article that Jamil and his newfound found friends were more concerned with warning against Tahir, Mufti Akil Ingram, and Shadid Muhammad than more so the actual people of true innovation. Why do you think that is so?
I think it's because many of those brothers probably can't even recognize true innovation. I honestly believe that brothers don't know what true innovation is, except by way of talking about. The thing is, if you notice, when they warn against innovation, it's always general. Warn against the people of Bid'ah, but who are these people? So you have lay people here in Philadelphia believing that if you don't pray in Germantown or South Philly or Ben Bass or even Al Hadid, then you are an innovator. This is what most lay people in this city believe. This is bottom. There's no text to support none of this. Who said that where you pray at is the place that all the people Ahlul Sunnah pray? Where do you get this stuff from? This stuff is made up. And people have been hoodwinked to believe this. So yeah, when you talk about this is what I believe. This is what I believe. I don't believe that they are, and maybe some of them are equipped, but I don't believe that those brothers are equipped. And this is not a knock. It is what it is. And that's one thing, and I'll get back to that. That's one thing about students. Students know the level of other students. I can't sit here and act like I know more than I know. Everybody that studied with me know my reality. Have no doubt about that. All the brothers that studied with we know where everybody is at. You can't front. You can't act like, no, I'm more knowledgeable than I am. No, everybody knows everybody else's level because we all studied with each other. We lived with each other. We ate with each other. We know who knows what and who knows who and who knows what. So, back to that issue. I used to tell Jamil when we was in school, if you want to talk about innovation, talk about innovation. Tell the people what it is. The problem is, if I tell you all, stay away from the people of innovation, and those people are whoever I tell you they are. This methodology is flawed. Why is it flawed? It's flawed because it excludes yourself from falling into innovation. If I always tell you, stay away from him and him and him, then as a layperson, I'm going to stay away from him, him, and him. But what about me? And what's the innovation? Innovations are things that are known. It's not something that's make-believe. It's not something that, is in the air and only a select few people know what it is. La. The Salaf, they identify innovation. They show this here is a bid'ah. Why is it a bid'ah? Who said it was a bid'ah? If you're going to warn against the people of innovation, make it clear who are these people. Not who these people are. Yeah, who are these people and what is their bid'ah? What is the innovation that they fell into? Don't tell me don't go to this masjid. Why not? Thereupon, for example, a brother mentioned Masjid Furqan on Cotman Avenue. There's a masjid innovation. MashaAllah. There's a brother up there. I don't know anybody in the city sharper than the Imam up there. Imam Muhammad Musa. This brother has 10 qira'at of the Quran, born and raised in Mecca, graduated from Darul Hadith and from the students of Sheikh Muhammad ibn Adam, who all of us who went overseas know who he is. How is that a massive deviation? How? His Arabic is better than everybody's in the city. Everybody. There's nobody in the city whose Arabic is better than his. No one. So you're going to sit here and tell me, or tell the people, the masses that don't know better, that this is a master of innovation? Come on, man. This is oppression. This is the epitome of oppression. This is what oppression is. Putting something outside of its proper place. You have a student of knowledge there who's probably stronger than everyone in the city right now, including myself, on Cotman Avenue. Cotman Avenue, the Imam up there. He's from Mecca. Graduated from Darul Hadith. From the students of Sheikh Muhammad ibn Adam in Mecca. And you're going to sit here and tell me that's the master of innovation, mashallah? So what is he calling the people to, mashallah? If it's a master of innovation, what is he calling the people to? Is he calling them to worship other than Allah? If he's calling it bid'ah, what bid'ah? Is he calling it Sufiya? Huh? Is he calling it the Irja? Is he calling it what? What is he calling it? Is he calling the Khariji to be from the Khawarij? What is he calling the people to? Huh? Is he calling the Qadariyah? What is he calling? Is he Maturidi? What is he calling to? MashaAllah. If there's a place that Ahlul Bid'ah, what is the Bid'ah? Identify it so we all can look and say, this is a Bid'ah. So now the lay people, when they walk around the streets of Philadelphia, they can say, this action here is a Bid'ah. We know this. Not this human being is a Mubtada, because you don't know that. This is what the ulama teach. They teach knowledge, educating the people what these issues are.
Now, we only have two or three more questions, brother. Brother Ali, is there something amiss that the general folk of the West don't know about regarding the back and forth between the brothers? If so, can you please fill us in?
It would take a documentary. It's too much. It's too much. If you even want to talk about the history of Germantown Masjid, what's going on now, as it was a few years ago with the involvement of Sheikh Ahmed Bazmoul and so on and so forth. It's people that accepted Islam 3-4 years ago. They don't know what's going on. We just got around. Listen, they've been warning against Tar here since 2003 when I made Hajj. And I didn't even know what was going on. I'm like, that. When I first I ran into him over in Medina. I said, yo, man, what's up with you, man? Why everybody talking about you? I only spoke to him because I knew him. We went to high school together, so I figured I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and go in and talk to him. Tar, what's up with you, man? We sat in his house that night from all night. I think it was when I first got accepted. All night, and he explained to me the history of what was going on. And that's when I said, okay. Then I went to the other side. I wanted to hear their side. I didn't want to just take what he said because that's my friend. No, I want to hear what they said. And like I said before, he would come to Mecca. I would tell, all right, Tari, let's go visit Musa. I don't want, no, let's go. When Shadeed would come to Mecca, Shadeed, let's go visit the brothers. No, we all the brothers coming together. Ever since I've been there, I always wanted all the students to come together. All of them. I never wanted the brothers to be separated. So yeah.
MashaAllah. And you think the scholars are somehow involved or unaware of the situation here in the West?
They know. Scholars know what's going on. But I think, I'll tell you another thing. I'm going to backtrack a little bit. So you act like one of the things, why am I saying something now? I remember when I first got to school in Mecca, Tahir and I was sitting down talking one day. And he said something to me that I never forgot. He said, be confident in the knowledge that you learn. That's going to be your weapon. Be confident in the knowledge that you learn from the Quran and the Sunnah and the way of the Salaf. That's your weapon. I didn't understand that then. But as years went on, it's clear to me now. I stand on what I'm saying. I'm not making this stuff up. Go look in the books of the Salaf. Go look in the Quran. Go look in the Sunnah. It's there. All this stuff is known information. It's not a secret. What I know, I know. What I don't know, I don't know. So yeah, the scholars are aware of it. The scholars are aware of what's going on. They've been aware. And if you notice, Allah knows best, it seemed like many of them are falling back. How many years we calling the sheikh, getting this student run it out? Calling this sheikh, and so because of that, brothers are scared. People, what? I don't care. If you want to call, get me right out, I don't care. I don't care. If I'm wrong, alhamdulillah, show me where I'm wrong, I'll make tawbah. I want to go to paradise. I don't want to go to hellfire. I accepted Islam. I wasn't born Muslim. I used to be a Catholic. So for me now to accept Islam and want to be on misguidance is not true. I want to be guided. So if I'm wrong, show me my mistakes. But what I'm speaking of is stuff that I know. And if it's incorrect, show me that it's incorrect. Prove it to me.
However, the masses are really still kind of confused because they're saying, well, if what the brothers are saying wasn't true, don't you think the likes of the scholars that they have now, or the likes of the scholars they quote, would somehow be speaking against that stuff? But it seems as if the scholars
that they know what they're saying.
Exactly.
That
like
stuff is in English. Yo, yeah, Quan, it's two different crowds. You got an English crowd, you have an Arabic crowd. Do you honestly think everything brothers put out, they translate it verbatim and send it back to scholars so they can listen to them? Is that what y'all believe? Do you believe that? Come on, man. You're going to sit here and tell me everything they put out about all these brothers, they're going to translate into English and send it back to the scholars? No. Sometimes people paint one picture to the ulama and there's another picture y'all get here. And I've seen it because I was there. This is not made up. I was there and I lived it.
No, my last question. Do you think the situation between the brothers like you and Jamil needs to be addressed and dealt with before we can move on as a community?
I hope so, man. I mean, I think that there needs to be an awakening. I think that I would love to sit down and talk to Jamil, Hassan Somali. Or I would love for all of us to sit down and talk, man. Maybe have some dinner. All the brothers get together. We talk, hash out these problems, and call to Allah in the way of His Messenger, alayhi salatu wasalam. If all of the students was on the same page, man, there wouldn't be bid'ah in this city. There wouldn't be any innovation. There wouldn't be people doing crazy stuff because everybody be on the same page. But unfortunately, it's not like that. And Allah knows best, man. It could be people. It could be. I'm not saying it is. It could be that people want positions. It could be that people want status over the people. You know, as one person mentioned, a student of knowledge is just like the streets. Money, power, and women. It's the same thing. Just like in the streets, the drug dealers, they get the money, the power, and the women. The same thing. Students are not. I'm not saying this is absolute, but the same characteristics and traits are there. Power, status, women. And this is, but I'm being honest. I'm just telling you what I see and what I believe is going on. And Allah knows best. I'm not specifying brothers saying this brother and that brother did. I'm not doing all that. But what I'm saying is, this is what I know from what I've studied, what I've seen, and so on and so forth. And I just want to end it on that, man. I don't hate the brother Jamil Finch. He knows I love him. And if he didn't, I still do. I love that brother to death, man. That was a close friend of mine. A close friend. I'm talking about a personal friend. I was there when his kids was born. He watched my kids when I made Hajj. You understand? Like, it's, to me, even now, Jamil's still like my family. But I don't agree with what he's doing. I don't like the positions that he's taking. I think brothers manipulate him. I know he knows better. I know it's eating him up inside. I know him. These brothers don't know him. I know him. Abu Sajid knows him. And all the brothers that study with us in Mecca, they all know him.
But I remember before that there was some signs that, I don't know, maybe we can see that when y'all first was, studying in the Quarter, that you would see that Jamil Finch was always, preoccupied with what was going on with Salafi clubs and, back and forth with the fitna.
I mean, he was. Listen, man. He didn't start off like that, though. We didn't start off that way. When we started learning that brothers had a problem with tar hair, that's when it started. Because at that time, we were both cool with tar hair. And it was like, Dad, what's going on? So he started looking into the S-Puffs. I just left it alone. He went to their websites. He saw, some of the things they were doing he didn't agree with necessarily. But in defense of Jamil, his approach was, maybe I could correct them from within. Maybe I could, try to sign up, maybe work with the brothers and convince them. But
correct them which way? Did he write any articles? Did he do
he wrote an article about fanaticism.
That was directed towards the brothers?
Directly directed towards the brothers. On Embodied Islam, I don't think he put it out, but he spoke to me and Abu Sajid about it. This is these brothers are fanatical in their approach and so on and so forth. So you got to understand, when we know this person tells us this stuff, and the next thing you know, he flips and defends, I'm like, what's that?
Because in the article, you mentioned something about Shadid Muhammad and how him and Jamil Finch had a close relationship to the
very
point
close.
In Shadid would stay the night over his house.
Listen, when Shadid would come to Mecca, he would spend the night at Jamil's house. How do I know? Because I would be there too. We all would be there. At that time, Shadid was more advanced than us in our studies, so we would benefit. We would go there, let's review this, let's go over issues, and so on and so forth.
And he was like, you say, he was like from the first amongst the people there, the students of Mecca, that was trying to stand up to defend Shadid.
Jamil was the first student. He was when they first started talking about Shadid, Jamil was crushed. And he called me up and said, man, we got to do something, man. I said, Jamil, let's wait. Be patient. Let's sit back and see what's going on. He was crushed. He was crushed. He couldn't believe that they would come at Shadeed like that. And when they came at him, you know, as they say, man, pressure bust pipes. There's a lot of brothers that know what's going on, and they don't like it, and they know that it's wrong. But everybody, even now, people know stuff is wrong, but they're not going to come out and say nothing. You can't be mad at everybody for that. Everybody is cut different ways. Everybody's not going to get out and say what I'm saying. Everybody's not going to do this. Everybody's not going to do. So I'm not, you know, it may look like it's, you know, some deficiency in his character, but we all have the character deficiencies. We all have flaws, man. No. We all have flaws.
I want to end this interview, but I have to ask you this question because, like you said, it all started with Tahir. Even with all of the separation,
yes. All the beef, all the students.
Tahir Wyatt recently just put out you know as well a clip on the monopolizing the scholars. I mean, I just want to know, as a student, what do you think your professional take of that? Do you believe that he's calling for the raising of himself and other people here in the West, and that he's calling to remove and separate and detach ourselves away from the scholars back there in the East?
So the first thing is, I don't know, when he mentions scholars and calling to himself, I seriously doubt. From what I know from Tahir, he's not going to call to himself. He's from the few students of knowledge that I know, and we spend a lot of time with students. We spend a lot of time together. From the few students of knowledge that I know, every time I'm around them, he's talking about getting closer to Allah. Every time. And I'm not talking about in the public. I'm talking about we spent the night together and he's up making dhikr all night. Like, I've seen this stuff. This is not something I'm making up. So to say that he's calling to himself, I doubt that. When he mentioned scholars about being here in the U.S., I don't know what he meant by that. When you talk to him, have him clarify that. I can't speak for him. But yeah, other than that, I mean, I don't, you know, and he's on to me, he's on the level of the scholars. He's been there. Listen, when Tahir got his master's degree, I was there, Abu Sajid was there, a brother named Salim was there, and a couple other students were there. Sheikh Abdul Razak al-Badr was the one who argued Tahir's paper for his master's degree, not for his PhD, his master's degree. And so Sheikh Abdul Razak al-Badr started crying at his dissertation and said, now he's from among us. Now Tahir is from among us. When you see scholars saying stuff like that, we're going to act like that stuff never happened. I was there. You know what I'm saying? I was there. I sat there. It was other brothers there. So this is not something that I'm just making up or brothers just making up. We lived it. We saw it. Now I come back to America to feel it and act like I didn't live in Mecca for 10 years and see what happened? No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to act like this stuff didn't happen. It happened. I have it. In fact, it's recorded. Brothers have it recorded. So yeah, I'm not going to sit here and act like, because brothers have a problem with Tahir now. Sheikh Abdul Razak al-Badr wasn't crying at his dissertation. Cried. Sheikh sat there and cried with tears and said, he is now from among us. Here we are looking at Sheikh Abdul Razak like, that's crazy. We're stunned. He said he came in here not knowing anything, and now he's from our ranks. Sheikh Wasil Abbas called Tahir a scholar. He said, return your affairs back to the scholar from y'all. Sheikh Wasil Abbas said this. So all this is stuff. How do I know? Sheikh Wasil Abbas was my neighbor. He lived across the street from me. I was there at his house. These are things that are known. This is not stuff that brothers is making up. We know this stuff.
No. Barakallahu Feek for our brother Ali Davis coming in to clarify and give us some background information and also some beautiful advice in terms to the advice that he gave to his brother Jamil Finch, and it's heartfelt, and we feel that this interview was heartfelt and there's no animosity. We still give our call, and our call always been the same, that we want all of the students to come together, inshallah ta'ala, whether they want to meet somewhere that is on neutral ground, and that they all pay the difference, and they can have a good monakasha, and let's work for it. Like the brother said something profound to me, where he said that if all of the students really were to come together, then there wouldn't be no innovation here in the city. And that's something strong for me, and that's something that should be strong for the listeners as well as the common folks. Instead of just keep retweeting all of the bad stuff against each other and pinning it against each other, we need to start advising these brothers directly, inboxing these brothers or going to these brothers, giving them notes and stuff and saying, listen, we're tired of that. We have our children here. We have ourselves here. We're demanding that you brothers come together and really teach and not put this together. So inshallah ta'ala, we want to thank the brother again for taking out of his time, his busy schedule. And we ask Allah ta'ala to reward him and make him firm during his trial of fitna, as well as with his family, inshallah. Jazakallah khair.
Barakallah.
Fiqh barakallah.
Jazakallah.